Peace, family. This is Oni Tase. Uh, you listen to the Pro Black Perspective on KWAZ Radio. And what I want to do today is go over an old article I wrote a long time ago. All right. So very soon, I'm going to share my screen with you. And the name of the article is Five Facts You May Need to Know to End Police Brutality. Right. And the reason why I want to go over this article is because I saw it in my emails and I said, you know what? This looks like something that I could go over with the family, you know? So I'm about to share my screen and we're going to have fun with that. And by the way, right now it's 1 a.m., you know? So I don't really expect anybody to really be watching this with me. If anybody's awake, you know, you could just hit me up, you know, hook up in the chat. But for the most part, it's just gonna be me in the middle of the night, 1:24 a.m. Got things to do, but you know, what better than to be with you? Now, of course, you should know, as you see right here, I got the Book of Power. It's out. The Book of Power right now it's really a powerful book. I mean, it lives up to its name. And one of the emphasis, because I'm working on some of the let's say the advertising, you know and you can see, follow that on this website right here, the Book of Power website. This is you know the Book of Power.wordpress.com, and you can see it's a new classic in African consciousness. You can purchase the book right here, you know and I'm going to go over this, the most detailed exploration of family and nation building. Okay. And by the way, if I sound like I'm low or tired, it's because, like I said, it's 1 a.m. Uh, but I'm gonna talk about African high culture. Okay. I mean, I talk about African high culture in this book, but for the ad, I'm going to talk about African high culture, and that is one of those things that we don't really grasp. What I want to explain is that when we talk about building nations and we talk about building families, we're talking about expanding our lifespan. We're talking about becoming a superpower, military superpower. We're talking about amassing wealth, real wealth. We're talking about those sort of things. There are real tangible benefits toward being well read and practicing what you know of your way. So so that's what we're going to have in the Book of Power, right? But long before the Book of Power, long before, you know, like the awakening of consciousness that I had to go undergo in order to even write that book. Hold on a second. Okay. So anyway, y'all here, I got a custom text, a custom notification for somebody. We'll turn it off. Let me actually though. Hold on a second. Anyway, so look, turn this off. So what we're going to do is we're going to read this article called Five Facts You May Need to Know to End Police Brutality. This did not make it into uh, the uh, the Book of Power or even the Pro Black Compendium, probably because I forgot it. But I'm going to check this out, and you can read along with me, right? So, and the link's in the description. Uh, but it says, "In the service of our ancestors in African love, listen, seeker, I come in peace." And that's just how I start stuff. But let's just read, right? "What reveals itself to me ceases to be mysterious for me alone. If I unveil it to anyone else, he hears mere words which betray the living sense, profanation, but never revelation." Uh, that's an African proverb from our ancient ancestors, right? Uh, let's see what else is going on. All right. So, let's check this out. A lot of people do not want to end police brutality. They don't. What it takes to end police brutality is likely going to cost the life of those who attempt to end it. White people are not that stupid to make it easier than that. Police brutality is institutional. The police train in martial arts, military arts, brutal arts. There's no such thing as police brutality. It's only white people policing black people during a time of war. White people never treated their prisoners well. Go visit the prison today. You won't find a prisoner being well treated. Your black ass is a prisoner of war. You are just in minimum security, but you are still in prison. Your commissary may have vegan options, but you are still in prison. It does not take a rocket scientist to tell you what prisoners need to do to solve their problems. I studied rocket science. It's interesting, it's very interesting. But I could have passed on studying it, and I still could tell you what a prisoner needs to do to solve his problems. Right? Very, 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 very important, very potent for this stage of consciousness. And that's something that, I really this is why it didn't even make it to the next book, right? But let's go. I do not want anyone to misinterpret what the following list is. This list is not a guideline. Only you know what you should be doing. These are five facts that you already knew that you might not have put into perspective on the issue of police brutality. Do not confuse what I am writing. Read it in its entirety. Share it if you will. Print it out. Distribute it. Save it on your hard drive, as whites aren't fond of the distribution of facts. You can even get the t shirt. But remember, it's not a guideline. These are just five facts you may need to know to end police brutality by Onita Se Kumai. Okay? So I'm gonna, you know, check this out. We have somebody online. Apoli Kumajama. I hope I said that right. Apoli Kumajama. There you go. All right. So number one, it's not about police. It's about race. Okay. That's something that's really important. It's not about police. It's about race. Now, this is what I want you to understand, though. This is 2016 only. Okay. The Book of Power is 2019 only, and it's like the gap, because right here 2016 only is excellent. You're going to see this is excellent scholarship. 2019 is just another, is just a whole other thing, you know. And in fact, we got Apoli over here. I don't know what's, I'm camera shy, right? She could tell you it's different. Okay. All right. It's not about police, it's about race. Okay. Police brutality is a misnomer that confuses more than it clarifies. It's akin to the phrase war criminal. As Africans, we should understand the definition of a war criminal. Crime is not a matter of deeds, but a matter of who has power. For instance, when the Germans lost Europe's Second European War, many were tried for war crimes, and yet the British, who did the same or worse, weren't. Separately, the deeds that the British have done in their 77 nation empire were reprehensible. Yet, where were the tribunals for the British in Kenya, in Azania, in Nigeria? Cecil Rhodes, one of the most despicable Europeans who killed Africans for sport and once even celebrated a 5,000 man genocide with champagne, is considered a war hero, not a war criminal. In fact, the Rhodes Scholarship is considered the most prestigious in Western society. Even Mugabe was considered a war hero up until he turned against white people. The reason being that war crimes like police brutality are institutional. Invading a nation and raping their women is a matter of policy as much as tackling a black man and shooting him on the ground, or during Azania's apartheid, police shooting student protesters en masse. Individual officers do not make these skills up on the fly. They are institutionalized. They are drilled and trained. It's martial arts with the intended purpose of brutalizing and killing black people. It's not police brutality. It's a white interpretation of policing. It's white people as a collective financing, employing a subset of white people to brutalize and kill black people. The police are the other branch of the military. They deal with international warfare on a city level. America's international war is against black people. It's not about police, it's about race. Okay. So, what I do in the Book of Power is you have to evolve this kind of thinking, because that's the thing we tend to say. This is what I used to say back then, oh, well, war, war, war. Instead of realizing that actually this is just a white nation, it's just a white nation, and it's just a white nation doing what white nations do. We tend to romanticize it as, oh, well, they're at war with us, and we have to be at war with them, and sure, why not, sure, but you have to understand that this is a nation that has an internal structure. And you might be like, hey, you know what, I kind of like 2016 only. Yeah, okay. You want to the truth is that you want to, like I said, go back to African high culture. You want to have 120-year lifespans. You want to live in abundant wealth. You want to be a superpower, you know and what enables that is understanding what power is, understanding nation building, understanding family building. That's going to be what I say in the next ad or whatever. But you this is where you want to go with your consciousness. You know, this consciousness in front of you, this one, 2016, it's excellent, sure. But we're talking about really being an independent and powerful people. And this is where we're going to go, right? So let's go to number two. Uh, the whites put their children above even their money, So I'm going to use the G word here, apparently, right? The white man's God is his money. That's a quote from somebody, right? But white people would gladly sacrifice their money for their children. Maybe not all of their money, but to white people, their children are worth at least some money. That's actually why Al Sharpton is a black leader today. Back in 1989, Al Sharpton, C. Vernon Mason, Moses Stewart, and Alton H. Maddox Jr. held a powerful boycott against white businesses that eventually crippled their economy. The whites called a meeting to negotiate an end of the boycott, but when Alton H. Maddox Jr. told them to hand over their sons that murdered one of ours, the whites told him plainly, "We do not snitch on our children." To Alton H. Maddox Jr., that meant the end of the meeting, but to Al Sharpton, it has meant the beginning of his career. Sharpton got paid and has been selling out ever since. All said, it's interesting that white people who aim to make statements to the white community perform school shootings, or in other countries, school bus public slashings. To date, black people don't. But it's an interesting fact that white people speak to their community by targeting their most vulnerable. One white boy who performed a school shooting sparked so much change in the white community, it's almost comical in retrospect. In 1999, some cracker shot up Columbine High School under the pretext of being bullied. It doesn't matter how many kids committed suicide before that for the same reason. Only after that incident did white society take anti bullying seriously. I'm not saying that this white boy is right, just like I wouldn't say the 1963 bombing of the 116th Street Baptist Church in Alabama was right. But it is certainly interesting that anti bullying is such a prevalent concept today, considering how pro bullying America was prior to Columbine, literally arguing that bullying builds character. Meanwhile, anti so called police brutality has been a recurring theme in the black discourse, but America is as pro police brutality as ever. Granted, there's, as white people say, more than one way to skin a cat. And I wouldn't advise anyone without a death wish to misinterpret my message as pro Columbine. I'm really saying, and then of course, I go to number three right there. But, obviously this is, fancy wordplay. But again, this is what I'm saying about, we have to raise our consciousness. This is great at a lower stage of consciousness. Okay? This is great at a lower stage of consciousness, because, here you have the person, using innuendo and so on and so forth. Or you have me, using innuendo and and being creative with saying, but it's a weak position. You're not gonna see it until you read the Book of Power. You know, so a police sees it. You know, she sees it, right? Let me ask her. Yes, anyway, right? She sees it, but you're not gonna, because I'm telling you, this article, you're gonna see the commentary at the end, most likely, and it's like, wow, great stuff, powerful stuff. Because the reason why I even pulled this, because reason why I even pulled this up is because I was looking through my emails, and I saw people saying, "Hey, great job on this," and I'm like, "What is this?" Well, let's read this, right? Number three, your placard protests are about as effective on them as their protests are on you. And this is something really important, that this is something that is considered deep today. If I say, hey, man, protests are about as, protests are not effective. Marching is not effective. People would, clap their hands, congratulate you. You finally get it. Somebody said it. Finally, somebody said it. And it's like, you're not saying anything. When I wrote this, I was not saying anything. And the way how I wrote it here is probably the best way you're going to read this idea. And it's still nothing. It's nothing. But again, like I said, you want to get this Book of Power, or you're just gonna be, you're just gonna think, yeah, man, black folk, we need to stop protesting. That's look, it's fine. It's fine. But that's kind of within the constraints of what they want you to think, or what they want you to do. The what I'm doing with this book is I'm bringing you into your world, bringing you into, like I said, African high culture. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? It's completely, complaining about protests is not even African culture. You get what I'm saying? It's not even, it's not, it's a whole different world. So it's like a European, like a white person could say, you know what, protests are stupid. And actually, when I say it right here, look, you could even see how I even show, protests are pretty stupid. But I say, if you ever looked at hold on a second. Oh, it just ain't writing, right? If you ever looked at a Blue Lives Matter protest, or a All Lives Matter protest, or a We Stand With You George Zimmerman, you may have felt something or another. But bottom line is, it didn't really impact your convictions, and it definitely didn't incite you into any constructive actions. Why? Because it's a protest. Protests have been bastardized into an ineffective showcase of signs, poses, and calorie burning. The common manifestation isn't at all what a protest is supposed to be, just a joke that black people somehow adopted but never got. Uh, and this is, I'll tell you what an effective protest is. So an effective protest is the fire squad watching your house burn down, right? Oh, that's what white people used to do, right? The common occurrence of the police breaking into pro-black activist homes and demanding a cease and desist, right? So that's another thing that white people do. Like, I have friends who, their doors get kicked down, and the police tell them, "Hey, look, cut it out." Or the KKK burning a cross on your lawn, right? That's another form of protest that's pretty effective. The reasons tie in with the fourth fact on this list, and this is that the threat of violence backed with capacity can be as effective as the practice of violence. Okay, so that's what the Klan. That's my sis right here. All right. Uh, the threat of violence backed with the capacity can be as effective as the practice of violence. So, like the KKK burning a cross on your lawn, and you can kind of see this is so Eurasianist, so white centered in a sense, Like, I bring up Cecil Rhodes, I bring up Britain, I bring up German, and I mean, there's nothing really wrong per se with bringing up all those examples, but again, it's like it's removed from Africa. Like, what you can read in this whole document is how American centered it is. Now, of course, I'm talking about American police brutality, so it's a little bit, makes a little bit more sense. And like at the moment, I was probably writing towards that audience, you know. But like this is actually removed from Africa. Like this whole thing is removed from Africa. The sister, because it's 1 a.m. here. It's not 1 a.m. Where the sister is. And she can tell you, this really doesn't have anything to do with me. You know what I mean? Like I could actually ask her. I mean, although I kind of gave the hint how she should answer, right? But anyway, I'm just having fun. Uh, like any opportunity you have to type of women, take it. All right. All right. So like the KKK burning a cross on your lawn because you know who the KKK is and that its numbers are vast. Even burning a cross can pass a message onto the person whose lawn has been desecrated. Going back to the second fact on this list, to those who wrongfully find white children as innocent or unrelated to police brutality or war crimes, if a black organization, even proportionately as dispersed but numbered as the KKK, declared that unless certain demands were met, they would attack white schools, not precincts, but schools, there would be negotiations and not a single child would need to be harmed. But if a single black man said he'd either be taken for a fool or said it, he'd either be taken for a fool or taken. Even if 10 black people said it, it could be interpreted as a joke. Like if a child threatens a group of men, not one man flinches. If black people are in the business of making threats in order to negotiate, having the capacity to undertake that threat makes all the difference in the world because white people would attempt to have intelligence on a significant black organization or black power, infiltrators, informants, espionage. And if they can crunch the numbers and neutralize the threat easily, they would, and you can't negotiate squat. But if they cannot effectively neutralize without risking disaster, you're sitting at the table, which brings us to the final fact. Now, this is something that you have to realize. So, when I talk about, you see, yeah, I tell you, man. All right, so this is what I'm saying when I, you know, like look at what this right here. Just look at this last sentence right here. Boom. Which bring oh no, sorry, not the last sentence. Right here. But if they cannot effectively neutralize without you're sitting at the table, this is the part of the ambition of what we would call black nationalists or African. The people who let's say haven't read the Book of Power because the thing you got to realize about Oni in 2016, he hasn't read the Book of Power. Okay, so you can see in me, and I was considered one of the I mean, I would say I was considerably well read, right? Considerably well read, considerably well versed. Anybody can read this, independently and say, "Yo, this guy, he's a good writer. He knows things. He's going places, right?" Uh, why would I say this? Why would I say you're sitting at the table? Why do I want to sit at the table with white folk? Or why do I want our people to strive towards sitting at a table with white folk? And this is something that we have to shed ourselves up because this is not just me who says this. One of the earliest speeches, in fact, like if you look at the first article I wrote, I'm I link it here actually. The first article I wrote, and don't worry, I'm not gonna go into it because whatever. Right here, this is right here of losing at the conference table. You see, it says original uh June 2nd, 2011, right? So the first article I wrote when I said, let me join the Pan African world, and you see, I republished it here in 2014, right? It relates to, look at this, right? I actually give you the context. I say, on June 2nd, 2011, I know I said I wasn't going to read it, but I'm just going to give you some context. On June 2nd, 2011, I was 22 and angry. I frequented the United African Movement in Brooklyn, the only all African political assembly in New York at the time, and Dr. Jeffries explained how we always lose at negotiations. Uh, what Alternation Maddox Jr. calls the third, whatever, right? And look, I said, uh, I went to Pambazuka Press and I published it, so you can see, I give the link. Well, I don't know if they still have it up. Uh, let's just check if they still have it up, right? Uh, yeah, look. So this is me on Pambazuka. See, I'm on Pambazuka. Onita say. Now they changed some of the words, but the point being, and the main thing that they changed, in fact, was the first thing I did was I gave Dr. Jeffries credit. So you can see it says EMOTEP. I said we win in the struggle, but we lose at the conference table. Dr. Jeffries says that truism, right? And they took that out. Uh, but but the whole point being that losing at the conference table. What do you want a conference with white folk for? But you see, I'm not the one. You might be like, hey, only that's just you. No, that's not just me. I picked that up. Anyway, let's just go on. Uh you just checking on the sister. So look, number five, the black man can't do it alone, but black men can. Despite Rambo, Conan the Barbarian, Call of Duty, or whatever your particular fantasy is, one man cannot defeat an army, but armies can and do defeat armies. If black people will understand that warfare, the warfare that is being waged against them, and white people will not be bluffed. Yeah. If nothing else, black people need to understand that we have the better troops, pound for pound, and neuron for neuron. You know, we just have less troops and less technology, but organization can fix that. You must study, and this is something that look, just before I even go into it, when I go to the Book of Power, you're gonna see right here the only contrast of true nationalism versus organizationism. You could hear in 2016 only how important organization is. Organization. That's not nationalism. You're not going to win. One of the things I wrote, I mean, I can't pull up my Twitter or whatever, right? But one of the things I wrote on Twitter, actually, I think I could look it up, right? And you could see, because I'm trying to, uh, actually, I don't know how to, let me see, is it twitter.com/only, I don't know, right? Let's hope, uh, yeah, right here. Look at this. Look at this one right here. Nationalism is different from organizationism, cannot be overstated. China, which some may say is the second most powerful nation in the world, wouldn't think it could build a nation in America, but we think we can. We've been misled because we've been misread, you know? Uh, but look at that. China can't build a nation in Africa, in America. It could build a nation in Africa. So could you. Okay. But the idea is that it can't build but let's just say, well, let's not even go and say it can build a nation in Africa. But what I'm saying is this: they can't build a nation in America. And they're the second most powerful, if some would say. Okay? But you think you could. Or here you have, Mr. Oni thinking he's, we have less, blah, blah, blah. But you must study how quickly whites, your organization can fix that. What organization you understand? Like what? Anyway, I'm not even gonna. Well, you could even say, hey, look, 3 years later, and where are we? Or you could even say, where is Oni? Uh, I mean, yeah, okay, he writes one of the best books. Uh, No National Without a Nation. Yes. uh, I don't know if that's a shot at me, but but look, we have less troops and less technology, but organization can fix that. You must study how quickly whites, as police officers, respond to alleged crime. Notice their patterns of having backup for their backup, and see how they number themselves to the threat, a minimum 3 to 1 as per KKK policy. Then ask yourself how quick you can mobilize your people, and how much backup does your backup have? And that's the reality, you know. That's the reality that we got a third person in here, I think, right? Let me say peace to the third person. Shoot, nationalists about nations. We need nations, yes. Oh wait, the third person just ran. Well, I shouldn't say ran, but uh, third person's gone. Anyway, so check this out. Uh, then ask yourself how quickly you can mobilize your people and how much backup does your backup have. You have a group organized to kill you and yours. And this is something that you got to realize, the KKK policy. This is something that the KKK does. The thing is this: that real talk, white people don't like dying. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of people don't really like dying, but like white people don't like dying. They don't like getting hurt. So this is partly why you could fight them if you wanted to fight them, because they usually back away from real talk. Who wants to get shot? You know what I mean? Who really wants to get shot? You know, if you can technically threaten them, yeah, they can back up. But look at how well you're organized. You know, you're not who you think you are. You know, in the Book of Power, we have uh we have Dessalines. You know, uh, a quote. His speeches, and oh, sorry, we have Bianabello talking about Dessalines, right? And what she tells you is that he says, "Hey, look, I need to organize 40,000 people to take over Haiti." You know, he's like, "Get 40,000 people together tomorrow or something. Not tomorrow, but like get them on this day." And he gets that number, but that's 40,000 people. And that was like that's the people that really want to be free. You know, when it comes to us today, you like if you like, can you get 40,000 people? Come on, how many people can you get? Real talk, you know. And you talking about fighting now? If you could get 40,000 people to do something, I'm telling you, get 40,000 people to buy this book. You know, sure, get 40,000 buy this book. That's what you need to do. If you could get 40,000 people, but 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 you ain't doing that. So if you ain't getting if you and that's 40,000 to take over IT from way back. If you can't do that, that means that you couldn't even take over IT. Come on, man. Anyway, and you got to realize too when you're talking about IT, today. I mean, recently when America came and conquered, pretty much conquered IT, like recently, right? Or not too recently, but like let's say like 100 years ago, or whatever, right? I think they came with like 500 soldiers. You understand? It was like a small amount of soldiers, but that's it. All right. You have a group organized to kill you and yours. To end police brutality, think of your children and who they are targeting. And while I do not promise that the black man standing beside you may not be an enemy, why does the white policeman feel so confident about the black policeman standing beside him? You have so much. There are so many cities, so many opportunities. Black men need to organize and put not just the police, but the KKK to shame. When we are there, we can go any route, and end at the destination we will. What the black man needs to understand is to organize. A leader with an idea and men to execute it will make all the difference for black people, as long as that idea follows the principles of Pan African nationalism, which truly gets to the heart of police brutality, aka race warfare, and solving your prisoners' problem. You know? So yeah, that's something. So it says for further reading, please check out The White Man's Own Rules of Warfare, which are undoubtedly practiced against black people, judge for yourself, and the Pan African Nationalist Motto, an article before this one, directly before this one, an instrumental reading for all Africans. Oh, actually, this article is actually uh, in the Book of Power, organize, technologize, and strategize. And you can see it on the bottom if you really strain your eyes. But this is actually in uh, the Book of Power. Why the rules of warfare? Some of them are in the Pro Black Compendium. Um, like just dispersed through because, like I said, you want to know what's going on, what's going against you, and they tell it right in their face because they say if you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book. You know, for some reason it's almost like I'm hiding like African high culture from you. You know, but all the same, I just wanted to read that for you all. I don't know how long I've been streaming, 34 minutes. I know y'all like it short and simple. So I'm leave you to that. But what I want you to do is, check out the links below. You see? I mean, hit that like button too while you're at it. But oh, hit that like button, hit where's my subscribe button? I guess I don't have a subscribe button up here. I got edit video, right? This is it though. This was an old article. This is the article right here. But while you're there, check out the Book of Power. Get the Book of Power because it's about this consciousness that right here seems pretty good. Okay, this is really good consciousness, right? Once upon a time, the Book of Power done changed that. All of this is you can throw this all out. You know, you can keep it because it's good. It's good writing if you want to. You can keep it because it's good writing if you want to. But the reality is that you finna go on a real journey of consciousness of the highest order, this is the new classic right here, the new classic in African consciousness, and I really I'm and look, I'll be available to communicate with while you're reading. I want to hear from you. And don't pass up that opportunity. It's not always that you're gonna be able to contact an author while they living. You know, and I don't know how long I got. All right, but while I'm here, definitely cop that book. I'll show you. You hit the purchase button. Uh, and there it is, right there. Boom, the Book of Power. Uh, I was supposed to change this description, you know, but it's taking forever. You get that. Add to cart. They say free shipping. You know, and you'll be impressed. You'll be amazed. This is the book. You know. But thanks so much, family, for joining me today. And you know, nothing but love. You know, love and power. You know. Sure. All right. Yeah. Just think I got 90 years. Okay. Let's hope. Sure. You know. Thank you so much. All right. So thanks, family, for tuning in to another episode of the Pro Black Perspective, and you know, just love.